Hello, my name is Alan, and today I'm facilitating the first of a slightly curtailed series of the second edition of Urban Shadows. We're using the Kickstarter Quick Start, and so this is my first time running Urban Shadows, so I'm curious to how it goes. This game is organized as part of the Gauntlet RPG community. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, then please search Gauntlet-RPG and any reputable search engine will send you to us. If you want to see what it's like to play with the Gauntlet, then we have another Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend coming up on the 25th to 28th of February. A chance to come and play with us kind of for free, just to, try a one shot with, I think we're hoping to have, a couple of dozen or not, if not more games across that weekend in all time zones. I know I'm running one at the crack of dawn in GMT where I am in order to be able to pick up some of the Far East stroke Australian gauntleteers. So please do come and try us out. If you like what you see, you can support us with Patreon. That will, at certain levels, that will give you access to our approximately bi-monthly zine codex. I mean, it runs to 80 pages routinely these days, so hardly a zine in the old style sense. And again, at a certain level, you will get priority access to book sessions on the calendar. And so we would encourage you to come and play with us. So Urban Shadows. Now, this is the first time I've run it. So I'm going to read you some stuff from the Quick Start rules. This is a game of political urban fantasy, and it's about mortals and supernatural creatures vying for power in a city. To stress, Urban Shadow stories aren't about the threat of exposing the supernatural to the wider world of mortals. They are about forces in conflict and the mess of social and political alliances at the city's heart crashing down on the heads of the PCs. The new version of Urban Shadows, in an attempt, I think, to kind of tie characters together slightly more tightly than maybe it was possible to do in the first edition, has introduced the idea of hubs. These are bits of cities around which a set of sessions and a set of characters will rotate. Now, we're using the one that's in the Quick Start, which is the university one. I've slightly reskinned it to play what I'm subtitling the City of Perspiring Dreams. We'll be playing in Cambridge, in the UK, in the 70s. I'm defining the 70s very loosely. Anything that anyone thinks is vaguely 70s exists. And specifically, we'll be focusing on Gower College. I have stolen a Cambridge college and reskinned it as Gower. We've already created some characters and kind of sorted out some connections to that college and bit of Cambridge, and so we will play to find out what happens. Again, from the rules, from the Quick Start, Urban Shadows draws from noir and monster movies, but its true roots are in a different space, crime fiction. The protagonists of Urban Shadows are not just private detectives or monster hunters, they are people deeply entrenched in an illicit world, unable to escape the debts and obligations that the powers that be have over them. And it is that debt economy that drives a lot of what goes on. If I get this right, then that debt economy should force characters to make some difficult decisions. Some of those decisions will be conceivably costly to other characters, so there's invariably some tension between characters. I will, though, be endeavoring to present the group with challenges they must face together if they are to prevail, just to test whether the second edition is more supportive of a more group play format. Subject matter. Adult and supernatural horror themes will be encountered, so we'll be careful to use some safety tools espoused by the Gauntlet community. Specifically, we'll be using the X card. And just to be clear, the best way to play the X card for me is to show me it. But if something is making any player feel uncomfortable, please do play the X card. That will stop the narrative in its tracks, and then I won't ask why it's been played. I may ask how far back that player wants me to rewind the narrative to get away from the material that they found uncomfortable, and then play around it. go forward from a different place, in a slightly different direction. Let me stress that if something comes up and you think, oh, that's okay, I can manage that, and then it comes up later in the narrative, feel free to X-card it when it comes up a second time or at any subsequent point. At any point that any bit of narrative or content makes you feel uncomfortable, please play the X card. And I'm not very good at scanning the chat, because the other place you could put the X card would be in the chat. But all I would say is if another player sees something crop up in the chat, then please do draw my attention to it, because I'm not very good at spotting it. To try to avoid the need for an X card, we're playing with lines and veils. The players have had a chance to have a look at the lines and veils, and so I would just ask them to check those out. We are playing with lines. This is stuff that won't crop up in the narrative, on sexual assault and violence, harm and endangerment of children, infection or plague as a major plot point, and torture by player characters, cannibalism in the sense of the aesthetic pleasure of eating human flesh, and homophobia. And we are playing with veils. Veils, if they could come up in the narrative, but we will draw a veil over them. We will not see them on screen. And those will include torture by non-player characters, domestic violence, animal abuse, consensual sex, peril to pregnant women or infants, gore, and crabs. So that if those do crop up, we won't go into detail, we'll just draw a veil. There's also a couple of categories that have ask first on them. Those are alcohol abuse, drug abuse, and overdose. And there appears to be some interest around the table in romance with PCs or NPCs. In a relatively short series, I don't know how far we'll get with that, but I'll do my best. So we're playing with all of those. We're also playing with an open door. What that means is not just that if something comes up in the real world, please do feel free to, take a break. We'd like you to come back. But also, if this turns out not to be the game you thought it was, please do not feel obliged to just sit at the table, the virtual table, gritting your teeth. If it's not for you, no one's going to take offense if you walk away. The open door is there to be used. And
Alan? We had a question about the lines and veils.
Sorry.
Yeah, because that was Mario's question, actually. He connected his character loosely to some sex workers, and we were wondering if you're okay with that kind of content, or if you want to veil or line it.
I don't mind. I think I'd want to veil it,
okay.
rather than have details of their work.
Okay. Yeah.
Would you like to write that one in for me?
I can. It's already in there.
Oh, is it? Oh, so it is.
Yeah,
oh, sorry, it is, but it hasn't been marked yet. I see. Yeah.
That's because we want to talk to you about it.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, Sabine and I play together a lot. She knows that I'm old and British and very twitchy about things sex. And finally, we're playing with the Gauntlet Code of Conduct. We like to think our table culture is very positive, and I sometimes rather crudely summarize it as don't be a dick. But I guess that it's about respect, mutual respect at the table. Things, to me, that means things like not talking over other people, not inserting one's character into a scene that someone has set up unless invited. Don't interrupt or offer advice unless it's requested. Give people a chance to think through what they want to do before treading onto their spotlight. Help share the spotlight by not hogging it. And where a scene has run its course and is becoming repetitive, accept the facilitator's intervention to move the narrative on. That's my kind of short list. So that is the game we're playing. Let me know. We have got 4 players in the series, but we know one can't make it tonight and one has been delayed by their work. So let me begin by asking our players to introduce themselves and tell us something about their characters. So Daniel, say hello and tell us something about Reginald the Vamp.
Yeah, thanks. So first, let me introduce myself. I'm Daniel. I go by he, him. And Reginald also goes by he, him. He is the vamp, as you said. He became a vampire already in the 1850s in London, where he was working for a bank and had a good income. And since then, he has kind of always moved with the descendants of his sister Amelia. So now 5 years ago, he moved to Cambridge because a person called Nate, who is a descendant of his sister back then, moved there to study physics. So Reginald has good connections to the university hospitals in Cambridge, which is where he gets his blood deliveries. And he still makes his money by trading stocks. But he's also working at a chemical lab at the university because he has this plan to find a way to provide tainted blood donations to his enemy vampires. So maybe
So
that's
just so I'm clear, then this nice character who follows his descendants around the country or the world, like, you know, why is that? To protect them? Is that?
It's both to protect them, but also to make him feel still a bit connected to what it means to be human. But he doesn't actually get in touch with them. So he's more the observer and tries to do things for them from a distance.
It's a kind of vicarious, slightly voyeuristic look at what it might be like to be properly human.
Yeah.
Okay. We can go with that. So he doesn't prey on people routinely. He does he have a contact at the university hospital?
Yeah, actually, we in our deaths we decided that Sabine's character is an important plays an important role in providing those blood donations.
I'd forgotten about that. Okay, thank you. So he was turned in the 1850s, and based on the picture I'm seeing, he's a young man.
He is still a young man from his outward appearance, and he's also a bit old-fashioned. So you wouldn't see him in his Victorian clothes anymore, but he's always a bit behind. So you will not see him in the typical modern 70s fashion, for example.
Okay, so neither flares nor punk tartan. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, and I think he's being played by a very young Frank Sinatra in our if I've got that ID that correctly. Okay, great. I've got a bit of a handle on Reginald. More will come. Okay, let's go. Sabine, say hello and tell us something about the Smith.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I'm playing. Yes, I'm playing somebody. I am playing the Veterans playbook. The name of that character is Faris Talib. But he's usually called Smith because that's what he does for the supernatural community. Also, his name is kind of hard to pronounce right, and Faris Talib is only the tip of the iceberg. He came to Cambridge from somewhere in Syria, from Damascus, when he was 7, but he still has an Arabic name, and they tend to run for a bit. So yeah, he is a smith. He has a forge. He can create stuff with a hammer and iron, but also with other things. He has been providing people with weaponry, the supernatural community with weaponry for quite a while. At least he provided those he deemed worthy, whatever that really meant. He made a few mistakes along the way and might have created a weapon that was rather powerful, gave it to somebody who was not very responsible with it, entrapped that someone in their bottle, that was a gin, and now doesn't know really where that sword has come to, and it kind of bugs him. But he's retired, of course. He's retired, so he isn't really rushing into danger.
Remind me why he retired. Why did he step back from,
Yeah,
being at the front line of the supernatural community?
because of this gin incident where he created this sword, and I forgot to look up a name. Damn, that was my one homework, to look up the name of the sword. Okay, so this sword that has a name, it's in Arabic, so nobody can pronounce it. Nobody who doesn't speak Arabic, which probably quite a few people, I imagine. So yeah, anyway, he created the sword, which can turn people into stone or fire or ice or a song. And then he gave it to his lover, the jinn. And then the jinn did a lot of stuff with it that wasn't really on the level at all. Kind of, yeah. And then Talib and Faris met with an angel. The angel was meant to told him, we have to stop this jinn, and he betrayed the jinn, put him back into his bottle, and somehow lost track of the sword. And that's when he thought, okay, I've fought somebody I thought I could trust and I thought I loved, and he's in the bottle now, and I'm too old for this shit. Of course, he's the youngest member of this whole cabal, but that doesn't mean he doesn't feel like he's the youngest.
Yeah, because he's the only person who isn't kind of semi-immortal, depending on circumstances, it sounds like.
Yeah, not yet anyway.
No, and so he is what it is. It looks like from the picture he's in his like late 40s or so. Is that?
I think he's late 50s, maybe even 50s at least.
A well-preserved 50 odd. Fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me then about this blood supply. How does this work?
Okay, how this works is that he works actually his day job is at the university, and he's the kind of person who, for the history department, is the restorationist, if that's the word. He restores, repairs swords, weaponry, artifacts from olden times that you would need a forge for to repair, and skills like that. That's what he does for his sort of day job. And that's also kind of why you find all these ancient relics and artifacts lying around in his forge, because they're there to be repaired, right? Not because he thinks they're worth anything or something like that. And with the forge,
just to be clear, so his I mean, it just occurs to me there is a very large museum called the Fitzwilliam Museum, which is probably more likely to have a conservationist than the department.
I mean, maybe he works for both.
Fine. I mean, and is that where his workshop is?
That's where his workshop is, yes. And there is a medical facility, like a little, because there are guided tours where people can go and hammer at something for themselves, because this is educational. But, if people mess around with hot metal and fire and stuff like that, they tend to get hurt. And he has this medical facility, for people who actually get hurt. Started out maybe as just for the workshop, but it kind of became sort of the official or more or less official nursery for people who were injured. And then the local blood drive kind of happened to be there as well, or a local blood drive kind of happened to be there as well. And most of the blood that is donated, or some of the blood that is donated, goes to local hospitals, but some of it goes to Reginald.
Okay, so another public servant in the sense of carefully encouraging people to give blood, but then sliding a certain portion of it to Reginald.
Yeah, because if I didn't, he'd have to bite people, right?
Yeah.
And then that would be undignified.
Fine. And so far, because we are in the 70s, so records are mostly on paper. No one at the hospital has noticed that the number of people checking in to donate blood is generating a surprisingly low level of blood. Okay. So why don't we begin with the two of you? Where do you hand over the blood, Smith? Or does Reginald come to you to collect it?
What do you think?
Yeah.
We meet in a park where it is
Yeah.
clandestine and the ducks recognize us.
I guess we have a park
Mhm.
that is part of the college
Yeah.
environment there.
Okay. So, and just to be clear, Reginald does he, because he looks very young. So I'm assuming that he just kind of gets into the chemistry or biochemistry department by just pretending to be a student. Because again, we're in the 70s. Security is incredibly lax. You turn up at lectures and people just assume that you're on the course.
Yeah, that's true.
But he isn't actually enrolled as a student. Or is he?
He could be. He's also pretty well connected to students, which is why he. It's not related to Sabine's character, but he actually provides. Well, let me see.
There's a lot on these character sheets. Just
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you know, and we're using the official Urban Shadows quick start, and there's a lot of it. This character keeper.
I think you're setting up Wynne with students.
Genau. Yeah.
He can date.
I'm setting up Wynne with students for dating. Exactly.
Okay. Well, would it be appropriate for you to be a student at Gower, because that's where Wynne is going to be a student, and it could even be where your great whatever Nate is a student. Yeah, because that would allow me to refer us straight to a hub move, because there's a hub move called "There's Always Somewhere Quiet in College." When you try to find a secluded place in Gower for a meeting or deal, roll with mind, Reginald. Oh, did I give you a link to the?
I think it's somewhere in one of the tabs, but
Yeah, hang on. I'll make it. I'll copy that. I'll put it in the Zoom chat as well. There you go. We're using Roll With Me, which is John Grimm's new dice roller. This is the new update. I like it because it has a quick roll right at the top, which is just press 2d6 and Shazam, it happens. So, roll with mind.
All right. Not that great. That's a 7.
Okay, so what it says is on 7 to 9, on a hit, you found just the spot, quiet, isolated, and secure. What time of day or night is it, Reginald?
I think it's.
What season do we have?
Oh, when do you want it to be? Spring, summer, autumn, winter, take your pick. The advantage of being in the winter is we can invoke the 3-day week and early power cuts.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so let's have it at the start of the spring term in maybe January. Yeah, so it gets dark early.
Yeah, so maybe it's 8 or 9 p.m.
Fine. And on a 7 to 9, traffic is heavier than expected. It's either isolated or secure. You pick, Reginald. Is this an isolated spot or is it a secure spot?
It's a secure spot.
Fine. So no one can get there, but it's not particularly isolated. Yeah, so you're safe, but you may have people in the vicinity. Let's assume there's a bit of I think I put a kind of very poor picture of Gower. There's a big row of trees near the back right-hand corner of the college, just in front of the Master's Lodge. Let's have you lurking among those trees. What do we see happening? What do we see? What do we hear being said?
So I guess I'm not wandering around. I think I know where to meet Reginald. So I'm I mean, I'm kind of used to kind of skulking a little into the trees because because sometimes I have to meet people clandestinely because to do some illegal activities that we have veiled, and
Reginald is already standing beside the trees, smoking a cigar.
oh, cigar, nice touch. I think I'll go up to him and, you know what, this is the 70s, this is perfect. I'll just ask him for a light.
There you are.
And then I put down the briefcase with the supplies in, just like naturally. And I mean, we know each other, right? So I think I'll just say hello and not just ask for a light and go off. That's the point.
Do I actually owe you money for the deliveries, or is there some other deal we have?
I'm curious about that, I must say. Is what kind of relationship is this? Is this friends, or is this a kind of fairly transactional, I give you this, you give me that? I know there's a debt in play. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm curious as well. Let me look at all of this stuff. No, wait. I think Reginald is the one who talks me down when I'm starting to get. So no, this is not just transactional. I think
So this is friendship.
So, yeah, we've known each other for a while. I mean, he's been around when I was young and making all these mistakes and stuff like that. So it's weird that he's looking so young. I mean, when I met him first, he looked like he was my age.
And I guess, I mean, he's a vampire because that blood is not for surface emollient. So what do you talk about? What's the worst thing that's happened to Smith in the last week that you want to share with your friend Reggie?
The worst thing? Oh, I'm gonna ask you how my sister is doing. I mean, my sister lives with him right now. We are very well connected.
I was going to say.
I will tell you that my mother and father, they don't know that Asmira is back yet, and they think she is somewhere in London and has married a good man and probably has a whole stable of children by now, and they really want to see their grandchildren. No. And they're not getting any younger, which is true, but
So how is it's Asmira, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my sister.
Yeah. So how is Asmira, Reggie?
Asmira is not feeling so well. She's kind of trapped in that apartment. And all because of those damned humans.
Hey.
The Piers Verde Society.
Oh, yes. The Piers Verde Society, which is a society based at Gower, if I've read this correctly.
Yes.
Who, apart from being slightly upper class toffs, am I right in thinking they have a particular down on matters supernatural?
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't this be the perfect time? Because you're secure, you can see all around you. There's, you've got clear lines of sight on all the pathways running by or towards you through college. Wouldn't this be the perfect opportunity for you to see some members of Piers Verde spilling out of one of the college buildings? Perhaps they've just had dinner and they're spilling out of the dinner hall, the college hall. And they're coming your direction. But because it's secure, you have options.
And I'm looking at you and saying, speak of the devil. There they come.
Yeah, always trouble.
Should we avoid them?
Maybe we should have a word with them.
Well, what? What do you want to tell them? Hello, I'm a vampire, but I'm not really not that bad.
No. But I think your sister, if she has to stay in this apartment for much longer,
it's true.
This will not work.
She should not have run with them. and then run out of them.
They should have to back off so that your sister's free to roam.
They don't know
Cambridge again.
they don't know she's here yet.
They don't even, yeah, maybe they suspect something.
Maybe I can talk to them and try to figure out what they know. And you can stay in the background and watch my back in case they decide that I am too supernatural for their taste.
All right.
So they're not coming towards, they're not kind of making a beeline for you, but they're passing nearby. Reggie's under the trees in the shadows. What do we see Smith doing?
Do I know one of them?
I'm prepared for you to know that this year's chairman of the Piers Verde Society is a David Marchant. He's a third-year law student.
Oh, law student, always the worst.
And he is there and holding court the way that posh boys tend to do.
Well, I guess I'm looking around. Maybe I see a history student among them. They tend to have a history. One of them tends to be a history student.
You
So
don't know his second name, but his first name is Michael.
I wouldn't address him as Michael, but I'll go up to him. I mean, I work for the history department, so I'll go up to him or her. Who knows? Her maybe.
Yeah.
Go up to her and say, Miss, forgive me. My memory for names is terrible, but I think you signed up for my workshop.
And she kind of looks at you. You're a respected member of the faculty, and so I think that she will be appropriately polite. But David Marchant is far from polite. He says, "Come on, Maria. I've got some wine in my room."
And I look at him and say, "Excuse me, young man, I was talking to this young lady."
And he's a kind of pompous oaf. He's got a mop of unruly blonde hair. He's slightly overweight.
Oh gosh.
And he says, "Oh, spiff spoff. Come on, let's move along. Talk to this chap tomorrow."
Excuse me, young sir. Your manners are definitely wanting here. But of course, if you have such important business to do, I cannot imagine what would be so pressing. But surely I am an old man. I know nothing of the foibles of youth. So away with you then.
Is this an opportunity to put a name to a face, in the sense that there is a circle move? When you put a name to a face or vice versa, roll with their circle. He is Mortalis.
So am I. I also have a move of my own.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Wait a second. There's this old friend, old favors. No, he's not an old friend or no. He's definitely not. He's definitely just a. So where is that circle move? Basic and circle move. It's there.
Yeah, basic and circle moves. Put a name to a face.
Put a name to a face. Roll with their circle on a hit. You know their reputation. Blah blah blah. Okay. Let me see if I can figure him out though. Maybe.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, happily roll with mine to figure someone out.
Yeah, I just have to figure out what my mind is first. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. All's fine. Modifier. Here's 1, 2 dice. Holy roll. Yep, it's a 9.
It's a 9. So on a hit, ask 2 questions. On 7 to 9, they ask one of you as well.
Oh, nice.
If you're in their circle, ask an additional question, even on a miss. So you have 3 questions to ask, and they're going to ask you 1.
Okay. I think first of all, I think what I would like to know, sorry, is does this character worry about? What's going to happen? That is going to English, damn it.
I think he's worried that his authority over these people is going to be undermined because you're older, more experienced. He's a bit of a bully. And I think that he is worried that you will make him look small.
Well, not that hard. Who's pulling his strings?
And he'll say to Maria and the others, look, Professor Belenos said that if we wanted to join him for sherry after dinner, we'd be welcome. And Professor Belenos teaches Anglo-Saxon, Norse, and Celtic.
Oh, that guy, yes. Yeah. Yeah, well, and I would wonder, and this is not a question I'm asking out loud, but what's your character's, what's your character's beef with my sister? I know that. I mean, how could I put him in my debt?
I think if you reinforced his authority in some way.
Okay.
Not necessarily now, but at some point.
Yeah. Okay.
And the question he's going to ask of you is what you are hoping to get from a conversation that you've opened with Maria and increasingly with him.
I think what he'll get that I want to take their measure, basically. Want to see how aggressive they are, how and I want to know if they know who I am. Oh yeah, that's probably a better answer. I want to see if they know who I am.
I think that Maria says, but David, this is Mr. Smith from my department, and so I think they do now.
Fair
and
enough.
You can see Marchant kind of going, Smith. Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah,
tick,
and I'm
tick.
saying it's not Mr. Smith, it is the Smith.
And he looks at you as if to. I think he looks at you as if to say, you're one of us.
Oh wow.
Because he's placing you in his circle. He's placing you as part of Mortalis,
which is basically correct.
But he doesn't. He assumes that you all have the same aims and objectives, which is to protect the human race from the supernatural, which is what Piers Verde has always done.
Yes, of course.
And he will go so far as to invite you to their next meeting.
Oh, I'm honored. I will see if I will have to look at my calendar. Excuse me, young man, but my memory is not what it used to be.
But they'd very much welcome a talk by you on matters of shared interest.
Yes, I would be. Let me just. Perhaps, young Miss. I'm terribly sorry. I still don't know your last name. Young Miss.
Michaels.
Young Miss Michaels. If young Miss Michaels comes by my office, I'm sure we can find an appropriate venue.
Oh, and Maria is just over the moon because now she's the go-between between you and David. Is there anything else you want to get from this exchange, or does that give you the feel you wanted?
No, that gave me the feel I want because I didn't have the feeling that they were looking for my sister at all.
Fine. Does that reassure Reggie to? I'll end up calling him Reggie, whether I try to or not. My question, I suppose, is whether when you get this kind of more reassuring feedback from Smith, whether this reassures you and reassures maybe. Are you in a position to reassure his sister?
Yeah, I think that does reassure me.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious to play with the rules a bit now. because there is in this rule this idea of time passes and allows for faction moves. And I'm quite interested in exploring the faction moves quite early on, so that, you know, we might now have a break during which time perhaps that invitation to Piers Verde crops up. But also the faction moves may give us some sense of what's going on in the backstory. So if I refer you to the City and Faction Move tab, it says when time passes. So I'm going to have time pass now. Days probably pass. Player characters can make a number of city moves equal to their highest status. And I think you all start with a status of 1 in your own circle, I think.
Oh, that was a question we actually had about the ring and the status, because there are on the character sheet, there are these tick box and then a number next to them, and then there are 3 tick boxes below them, and we had no idea which was which.
Okay, so the tick box alongside mortality, night, power, and wild is the when you have engaged with them. So I think Smith, for instance, can now mark mortalis because you've dealt with Marchant. Yeah.
Okay.
And that means that that's the way you advance. So when you have engaged with all of the circles, you get an advance.
Oh, okay.
And then the 3 boxes underneath that represent the from left to right 1, 2, and 3 status. And I think you'll notice that the NPCs related to Gower that I've put in the Keeper, all of those are status 2 with their circles. You start at status 1. There are ways in which that will go up as you become more moving and more shaking. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Yeah. And,
that
and the numbers are the circle rating, right?
Indeed, they are.
Which one did we get +1 for at the?
I think you got +1 in your own.
No, you have +1 in your own in both rating and status, but you got one either in rating or in status that we.
In rating, you could assign +1 to one of the.
Okay, and rating
circles.
is the one in line 10. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then I've done it right.
Okay, so you're both status 1. Reggie is status 1 in night, and you are status 1 in mortalis. So each of you can make a faction move, a city move rather. So there's weaken someone standing, put out the word you need something, or consult your contact in another circle about something. So do any of those interest? Let's start with Smith because he's at the sharp end so far.
Yeah. Let me think if I want to weaken this guy David's status, or if I want to consult my I think I would want to consult some contacts here.
Okay.
Because I really need to figure out if anybody knows what Piers Morgan has been up to. And I think for that...
I love that Piers Verde has become Piers Morgan.
Yeah, sorry, Piers Verde. Who would I ask? Yeah, I know mortals, but I want to reach out to somebody else here. And I want to... Would I reach out to... Oh, yes, of course I'd reach out to Professor Belenus, because he's power, right?
He is.
And he seems to be involved with these Piers Verde guys.
Certainly
and
looks that way.
Maybe he knows something. So I think that would be quite natural to reach out. I mean, he works in kind of historical studies, so I think we meet each other at least occasionally.
Okay. So consult your contacts in another circle. So you roll with your status in that circle. So you roll with your status in power, which I think is 0.
No, it's 1. That's where I put the...
Oh, are you in...
That was where I got the +1 where I could allocate, right? And I didn't.
Oh, I see. I didn't think you could allocate it. I think it had to go where in yours, but let me just check.
No, I have 1 in mine, and then I get another 1 that I can allocate.
I'm sorry.
I think. I was not too sure about this.
Let's have a look at the character sheet, the playbook. Let's just have a look what it says. All the way down to the end.
In the character, yeah. And now it's loading.
Yeah, so's mine.
Ah, fun. Wait, there is a character creation. Starting character. Ugh. Starting circles. Add 1 to one of these. And starting status. So it's not my status that I add one of these. It's my...
It's to
My
the
s-
score in that circle, I think.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so the score in that circle is the one on line 10 then, or not?
So
Or
this,
I-
yeah, the rating in the circle is one in line 10, and then
Okay,
your status is the series of 3 tick boxes underneath that.
okay, then I'll lower this to 0 and put a tick into this one, I guess. Okay,
Okay.
okay, so I'll roll with 0, with nothing. That's
Okay.
fine, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, with Mortalis, it would be because you will now need to untick the status in mortality. Sorry, untick the one in power. You don't have status in power.
Yeah, but where do I put the thing that starting circles? It says starting
Okay.
circles. Where do
So,
I put the
okay.
+1 I get from there?
Okay, so row 9 has the 4 circles. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the number in row 10
Mhm.
is your score with that circle. It's your circle rating.
Okay, so then it's
So
a 1.
that's
Okay.
that's the one where you would
Mhm.
put your rating. But
Yeah.
status is the 3 tick boxes underneath.
Okay. Okay, then I did it right, and then I did it wrong, and now I'm
Sorry,
doing it
my
right
mistake.
again. No, it's fine. I think it's a bit confusing, to be honest. So fine, I'll roll with 0.
Okay, see what happens.
And see what happens. Let's see, 2 dice, yes. It's a 7.
Okay, so on a 7 to 9, ask one of those questions. What do your contacts tell you? One of those, I think there are 5 questions. I will endeavor to interpret the questions as broadly as I can.
Yeah, but I think the question is pretty simple. What has Piers Verde been up to recently?
Oh, Piers Verde, not. I thought you were going to have to Belenos.
Yeah, but I'm asking him what they
Oh, I
are up
see,
to
I see.
because he's
Okay.
connected. I mean,
Okay.
this David
Um,
Marchant.
I
been
think that
coming up to
he
him.
will tell you. Well, it's consult your contact. I think it's what the word is rather than Dr. Belenos himself. So the word on the street is that Piers Verde is lining up to take out Jovita the Vampire's club. They're going to try and cause trouble at her club.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Jovita is in their sights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's go to Reggie. Reggie, is there a city move that attracts you?
I think I'd go with consult your contacts as well.
Okay.
And let's see what circle I'm contacting. Or
I mean,
yeah,
I
it
have
has
to
to be
say,
a foreign. Yeah.
I'm just reading that move through.
Mm.
You don't. It has to be another circle other than yours.
Mm.
But so in the current case, it really doesn't matter. They're all at 0. So
Yeah. Okay, let's use wild.
okay, so go wild.
So who could be my contact in that circle?
Well, I think it's
See.
non-specific. I think it's contacts in general. It's what's the
So
word
it's
on the
not,
wild street?
yeah, so it's not one of these major NPCs, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah. All right. Okay, let's see. So first I need to roll, right? I have an 8.
Well, we're certainly scattering 7, 8, 9, aren't we? Okay, so you can ask one question from that list that Wild might know.
So what I would like to know is what conflict everyone is talking about. And why I'm asking this is because Reginald is providing information to Noriko Sato about supernatural events.
So he
So-
is.
So of course he has to stay up to date.
Okay, I think that possibly what the word on the street is that Jovita's vampires are looking to scare off a werewolf pack that is based in the fens around Cambridge, but is kind of beginning to interfere with that kind of after dark, illicit business that Jovita is interested in pursuing, or is currently pursuing.
That might be the werewolf pack that I failed to defeat for Wynne.
Well, couldn't it just be them?
Yeah.
They are the ones who murdered Reese. Okay, so what appears is that Piers Merchant, Piers Verde want to disrupt Jovita's business, and Jovita is looking for a confrontation with some werewolves. Then, when time passes, the MC conducts a faction move. When a faction openly attacks another, consolidate control, track someone down. I think that I'm going to see how well those werewolves do. I'm going to use the seize by force, which is a night move, so werewolves can use it. When a night faction seizes something by force, roll with their strength. I think these werewolves have a strength of, it's less than Jovita, so I'm going to make them roll with a strength of 2. And I think that they are looking, no, a strength of 1. They are looking to take some of Jovita's drug dealing street dealers out and replace them or suborn them to their side. So let me roll 2d6. I haven't rolled dice in a game in a long time when I've been running it. So that is 2d6 plus 1. That is 6, 7. So on a hit, they take hold of it. So the werewolves have taken the cannabis market from Jovita. And on a on a 10 plus hold all 3 on 7, I choose 1. They don't sacrifice an important leader or ally, but they do suffer an immediate retaliatory attack. So Jovita is going after the werewolves, and there is some serious collateral damage. So it looks like some humans have been a human has been badly beaten. And they didn't sacrifice a leader or ally. Time has passed. Reggie, what do you do when you get a message from Jovita that she's calling on all of Cambridge's vampires to stand with her and attack these werewolves? You know, bring yourself and anyone who can hold their own in a fight, Reggie. What's your response to Jovita?
I think my response is, you know, this is not my fight, but this drug den of yours is is quite important to me as well. So what I'm going to do, I will give you blood supplies because you will need them for this fight.
Okay. Does that sound like you are trying to keep your cool to face down Jovita?
It could be. Let's have a look.
Or
What
are you
else
trying
it
to
could be.
persuade her? When you persuade an NPC with seduction, promises, or threats?
You could try to figure out before you decide on the other moves, further moves. Oh God.
Yeah.
What do we see in this meeting with Jovita? Because Jovita has called you the club, and she's status 2. She is, as far as you know, the vampire.
Mm.
Being played incidentally by Susie Sue, or Susie
Yeah.
Namages.
Well, I think has quite a threatening appearance here. She's not alone. So
No, you're
on
her
either
side.
side, she has 2 of her vampire buddies. And yeah, so this is quite a threatening situation, I think. So I think that actually keep your cool is probably the right move here.
Okay, so you're going to roll with spirit.
Yeah,
okay.
Which is not my best attribute, but let's see. And nevertheless, I have a 10.
Well, will you look at that? Roll an 11 to get on a 10 plus, all's well. She allows, so you don't even have to offer her anything.
Okay.
She's just, she what is your excuse then?
But the thing is, I want to offer it to her because...
Oh, do you?
Because I have this scheme that I want to set up this business of providing blood supplies to other vampires.
Yes, tainted blood.
To make them, yeah, tainted blood will come later, of course. But first they need to be dependent on my blood supplies.
Yeah, and I think tainted love will come even later than that. But let's, so yeah, I think that you need to supply her. She agrees if you will supply blood. There's a problem, of course, because that is going to mean you have to get more blood from Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Smith, let's cut to you. That invitation comes from Marchant via Maria Michaels, the student, the history student. Comes to you and they are very interested. They meet every week on a Wednesday evening, and they are very keen that you should come and give them a talk. And they'll give you dinner and wine, and then you can excite them and educate them. I think this is Gerwin. Gerwin, sorry, I was talking to Sabine and I didn't notice you were sitting there waiting. My apologies. Let me just finish with Sabine and I will come back to you. So, Smith, what do you make of this invitation to attend a Piers Verde meeting?
Well, I will go, of course. I mean, I hope that they are not suspicious. So I will go and see what's going on, because I really need to figure out how to get them off Asmira's back, basically.
Okay. So you're going to attend that. Introduce our third player tonight. Our fourth one wasn't going to be here for this session. So Gerwin, before I do anything else with them, and then we'll take a brief break, would you like to say hello to our thousands of viewers and tell us a little bit about your character?
Yes, I'll say hello to Bob and Mary. My name's Gerwin. I play on the Gauntlet. I've been playing here for roughly 3.5 years now. Goodness, I feel old. I'm playing a Fae tonight by the name of Wynne the Fae. who is based on the Welsh myths of the Bwbl, which are the Welsh brownies. So more about service and actually keeping promises and doing jobs than necessarily the high fae that people would necessarily be commonly familiar with.
And I noticed that you've described your court as mysterious and exotic. Your monarch standing is represented by a magical aura. I was curious about that. Is this an aura around a place, or is it an aura that they actually give off?
It's an aura they give off. They're accompanied by music. They will normally have smaller fae actually around them playing music to calm them. When the music stops, they get very, very angry.
Oh, right. Okay, that's good to know. And I noticed that you have a rival in the court, a jealous sibling.
Yes, my sister.
And now you're in Cambridge, or you are spending time in Cambridge. My assumption was that you were a student.
I'm not a student. I'm someone who moved here with a student.
Right. Okay. So do tell.
I actually need to get the character keeper up to give you all
Oh,
the
sorry.
details.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
No,
I have come
then I won't-
straight in after work. And...
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rush you. Look, shall we take a break and give you a chance to have a cup of tea and get the keeper up and everything else? And what if we were back in our seats at about, I don't know, 1:15? Is that long enough?
Yeah, that'd be fine for me. Thank you.
Fine.
I could really use the coffee.
We'll finish that bit of interrogation after that. I'll pause the recording and see you at 1:15. Okay, back from our break, and we were just getting a couple of more details about Wynne ap Dunwyn. The sibling. It's the sibling I want to know about. The jealous rival.
Yes, the way the Bwbach are in the myth is very much like brownies, but a good cultural touch point to look at is the house elves from Harry Potter, who, although they're called elves, are basically the brownie myth all over, including the whole giving clothes to them thing. So I believe that the family basically has different branches, which each of them has a Bwbach that actually serves them. So I was sent off to university with the daughter of the family, Sandra Weaver. And
now I'm putting it together. I didn't understand that in the keeper. Right. So does your court serve the Weavers?
No, just my family.
A variety of families.
We serve the extended family. So the court itself doesn't, but my family basically serves the Weavers. And one of the things we've established is the Weavers are actually descendants of our vampire.
Oh, right. I'd forgotten about that. Yes. Is that the descendant who's in Cambridge? Reggie, I think.
I think the descendant that Reginald was looking after was Nate.
Yeah, but
and
we had
the descendant that Wynne was with is Sandra. So
so we established that there are two. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you know, Nate is the mortal lover of our wizard, so don't worry.
Thank God Mario couldn't come tonight.
This game gets complicated quickly.
I knew I was going to come a cropper on this. Okay, so Sandra is a student at Cambridge, and Wynne has come as her. As far as everybody else is concerned, what's Wynne's status?
Flatmate.
Okay.
He lives in the same flat with her.
Okay.
He secretly pines for her, but she very much treats him as a as a friend and a member of the family more than anything else.
Okay. And presumably, as far as Sandra is concerned, they've grown up together.
Yes, very much so.
Okay. So Wynne has come to Cambridge on the coattails of student Sandra. I'm going to assume that Sandra is a student at Gower, our Stolen College.
Yep.
Probably in her second year, because she's living outside college somewhere in some room.
I made that assumption as well. So
fine.
But
okay.
What I was wondering about is if my sibling would have been sent with Nate.
Oh, how do we think? How can that play? Reggie, can Nate have Wynne's sister as a flatmate? Another branch of the Weaver family?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Do we have a name for your jealous sibling?
Let's go with Mafanwi.
Fine.
I love names in the UK because I get to use all the Welsh names I don't get to use in real life.
At least two of us can say it.
Yes.
And one of us might be able to spell it.
Well, if you can, that would make one of us.
Okay. So what we got as far as, Gerwin, just to bring you up to speed, is we had a very brief introductory scene in which Smith was providing some blood to Reggie the vampire. That led to an interaction, very civilized interaction, with members of the Piers Verde Society, who you've set up as a group to be this kind of slightly antagonistic to the supernatural group. And then we jump straight to some time has passed. And what came out of that was that the rumor on the street is that Piers Verde are going after Jovita, the top vampire, and her club. The other word on the street is some werewolves from the fens outside Cambridge have taken some of the kind of illicit trade of Jovita's vampires. Now I just want to check. We have veiled drug abuse, yeah, okay. So I can legitimately have them take the cannabis trade from Jovita. During that, one of Jovita's human sellers was hurt, badly beaten, and Jovita has called all vampires in Cambridge to come to her aid while she, takes a bite out of these werewolves. Reggie managed to talk himself out of that by promising to supply her with some top-class blood.
One question about that.
Go on.
I noticed that this actually could mean that now Jovita is in my web, if we take this literally, even though,
now I
don't know if she actually asked for a favor or if it was more of a demand. So
no, I think we treat it as a favor, so I think you can legitimately put Jovita in your web. Keep me honest on that one, because I will forget.
Yeah. All right.
And of course, this all plays into Reggie's plan, which is to take out all the other vampires in Cambridge with tainted blood. Whether Smith knows about that, who's supplying the blood, I don't know.
Probably not.
So
no, we have clarified that Smith would not be totally cool with tainting blood for Reggie, because supplying weapons where people can shoot or hit each other is fine, or turn them to stone, but apparently he draws a line at poisoning people.
So there's going to be a retaliatory attack by the vamps on the werewolves in the background of our story. But where in our pilot episode of Urban Shadows, the City of Perspiring Dreams, where do we first see Wynne?
Do you want to start record? Oh, you are recording. Okay, sorry, didn't realise. I think we see Wynne at Smith's Forge. Smith has been teaching Wynne how to work silver. because one of Wynne's friends was actually killed by the werewolves.
Yes, we have established that it is that werewolf pack that we're talking about. Would it be helpful if Reggie was there as well? Because then Reggie might want to share the intelligence on the werewolf situation. Is that fair?
And Reggie is quite aware that Wynne has a thing for the werewolves, right?
Exactly. I mean, I owe her something because I failed to deal with the werewolves.
Oh, well, then you're certainly going to turn up to
Yeah.
find her to give her this information. So, yeah, the key information then is the vamps are going after the wolves.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to that, Wynne?
What do you mean what do you mean the vamps are going after the wolves?
Well, Javita, she's going after the pack.
No, she can't. She can't.
Why not?
They're mine.
Well, then you have to support them.
No, they're mine. You don't understand. They're mine.
It's
There's a
personal.
blood debt here.
Okay. What can we do about that?
Maybe we could tell Evita that she might not want to leave her club for a night out hunting werewolves because Piers Verde is planning a raid there. I mean, that would be helpful.
No, she can't. She can't. They're mine. No, she can't. No, not at all. Not at all. No, I think he is getting really nervous and starts basically fidgeting with the different tools around the place.
Would it be really neat if the night that the vamps are going after the werewolves is the same night that Smith is giving a brief talk to the Piers Verde Society?
So that's not precisely not the night where they're going after the club.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, but it seems likely.
They might need a couple of bottles of wine in them before they do exactly that. Let us say that is tomorrow night.
Okay.
Just to put a bit of time pressure on us.
So we have a choice here. We could. No, we don't try to go after the werewolves tonight. That does not seem like a useful thing to do because they're out in the fens, and I am not a fen person.
We're not.
And we're not ready anyway.
No, we're not ready. We can't.
But maybe we can convince.
Why are they doing this? Why are they? That's suicidal. That's going to lead to a war in the shadows.
Yeah, but they also want their revenge.
Maybe we can convince her to wait. Maybe she needs. I mean, you need weapons to fight werewolves, right? Maybe we can delay her by offering her something that she might need to go after the werewolves, like silver bullets. And, people might think silver bullets are easy, but they are not. Crafting silver bullets, I figured it out, but it's hard.
Arrowheads are easier.
Yeah, not. Silver is not very good for being flung at people at a high velocity. That goes for arrowheads, that goes doubly for bullets, surely. Arrowheads are easier.
Well, surely you just coat them. You don't actually make it entirely silver.
You just coat them. The silver might just be, but you have a resistance in the air when you shoot an arrow, and that resistance might shave off the silver, and you don't want that. Then all you have is an angry werewolf and a lot of wasted silver. This is not as easy as people think. I know in a novel, I know in these trashy novels that people write about werewolves, it's everybody can make a silver bullet. It's not that easy. Trust me.
So you think Sveta doesn't have enough of those?
I doubt it.
Well,
If she-
does Smith want to work out how difficult this could be? Because there is this your workshop move, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
So,
Also,
but I mean,
saw-
only if you are seriously interested in creating silver bullets or arrowheads.
I mean, I think I'm not right now trying to figure out how to really do this, but I think if we could delay Lovita, I'm just right now I'm delaying this because maybe when you could talk to her so she would let you help or lead the attack.
Well, there's something that I could do. I need to have a word with you anyway, Smith. Because I promised her something so that I can stay out of the fight.
Okay.
I need more of those blood supplies.
You think it grows on trees, right? Does not.
Doesn't it?
It does not, no.
Yeah, I figured.
Summer of love and all, but it still doesn't grow on trees.
So maybe I can go to her and tell her that it takes more time to get the supplies. And that's the reason to delay the fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. What I don't understand. Who the Piers Verde are going to hit them?
No.
No, hit the vampires. Isn't that what you
Yes.
said?
Yes, they are going to try and take over Lovita's club or something.
But the vampires are going to hit the werewolves as well. So
Well, who do we want to win this?
Well, I'm pretty neutral on the whole thing, actually. I mean,
Well, the reason I'm asking is one problem solves the other.
does it?
Well, if we need a supply of blood and there's a bunch of people going to be attacking the vampires, one problem seems to solve the other.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with a massacre here.
What's going to happen when they roll in there?
the Piers Verde, you mean?
Yes.
That's a good question. Because I don't know what resources they have and why they think they can do this. I mean, these are idiots, but are they that idiotic? They haven't been in the past.
I mean, do you want to, I don't know, hit the streets to try and find out? Could you try to work out what the plan is?
Do we have time for that? I mean, I'm meeting them tomorrow evening, but
well, you know, that's the rest of today and tonight.
Oh, you're going into their dining club tomorrow.
They have invited me to give a speech or something.
Ah. Do we want them to attack the vampires or not?
I'm looking at Reginald.
Well, I certainly wouldn't mind, as long as they don't attack me. But then we still need to delay the vampires' attack on the werewolves, right?
Well,
because that will certainly happen tomorrow if I don't delay it.
Wynne, I think I'm seeing a sequence here. Why are you interested in whether they could be encouraged to hit Jovitas tomorrow night?
Well, firstly, if they are going to attack Jovitas and Jovita needs blood, one problem leads into the other. If we don't care about what happens to the Piers Verde Society, that's not so much an attack at that point, it's a delivery.
If they have no resources they can use against the vampires, which I'm not so certain about. Also, there's this young woman, I don't think she deserves to be a meal.
And also, yeah, I want to give them the blood.
The other option
I
is
don't want them to get some random blood from some
Children.
human children. Yeah.
the other option is if you want to delay that attack tomorrow, I have the perfect way in which we can do that.
Do tell me.
What happens when you drink?
When I drink,
When you sorry, not when you drink. Smith, what happens when you drink?
Well,
When you drink alcohol?
I get drunk. And then I have to go to the bathroom, I guess, at one point.
But if the alcohol, if it doesn't seem like strong alcohol, you'll drink more than you would necessarily normally wouldn't you?
You realize that I'm Muslim and I don't drink alcohol at all.
I'm using you as an example of what a normal, probably a normal person is the wrong thing to actually use you as the example of, given your history. But my glamour can make the wine, can make the whiskey that they're going to drink taste like a very mild wine.
And you think that then they will go and drink more of it and then be inebriated.
Yes,
that is your plan.
And won't be able to then attack tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going in anyway, that gives me the perfect opportunity to get in there and spike the wine.
And I won't be affected because I don't drink.
Yes.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Sounds good. But then the vampires are still a problem.
The vampires will still attack the werewolves, and we do not know if they will triumph or not. And if you want the werewolves for yourself.
This is the trouble. I want the werewolves for myself. They've taken something from me and they need to pay for it. Mm-hmm. Preferably, I'd like it to be by my own hands, but I know what I am. I'm not a Fae Knight in shining gossamer armor. I don't carry a large sword. I don't do any of this stuff. I'm a brownie. I make things. I repair things. I do work. Sorry, go on, Reggie. Yeah, I didn't mean to speak over.
Do you want all of them for yourself, or would it be good enough to have the leader, for example?
If I can craft the weapons that are used to take them down, technically it is my hand then.
I see the plan. So you, Reggie, would have to convince Lovita that she should wait for the weapons.
Yes.
But then Wynne would provide. I see.
Okay,
This is actually looking to be a very. I like the way we are not really escalating things here.
The problem we have is we have a chain. We have Piers Verde going to attack the vampires. Mm-hmm. They're at the bottom of the chain. They're the first thing that's going to go on because the chain goes upwards. The vampires are going to attack the werewolves. It's not a loop, it's a straight line. Mm-hmm. So the thing we need to stop first is Piers Verde going in and hitting the vampires, because if they do, the vampires could likely take casualties that can then stop them taking out the werewolves.
Also, the vampires are not that well armed yet, from what I know. But I like the plan that we first have the Piers Verde party a little bit more than they should. And then you would delay Lovita, and then we could put ourselves in the middle of this thing without getting into any kind of trouble.
I think I see a couple of scenes coming out of that. I don't know which moves you've got in mind, but I assume they're valid and appropriate. So let's.
Can I just check something with you? I have a fairy power called Glamour, which creates illusions to fool the senses. They don't last long, but they are compelling. So what I plan to do is I'd like to actually replace the wine that they would serve at the dining club with a very, very, very strong spirit, and then actually use the glamour on the wine to make it seem like wine. Well, on the spirit to seem like the wine they would originally be serving.
Okay, and the strong spirit is coming from where?
Well, we have to sort that out.
Oh, okay, right. So that's what I wasn't certain. I wasn't certain if you had a move that created this
No,
potent liquor.
we need to go and buy or retrieve some strong liquor.
Okay.
But if we get into their basement or into their wine storage, they'll probably have strong liquor down there as well.
Okay.
I could also bring a bottle of something to show my appreciation, even though I don't drink myself. Or maybe not, because that would make them suspicious of me, and I do not exactly want them to think that they should go after me.
Okay, so I think where we're starting here is, where is this strong liquor going to come from, and how are you going to access it?
If this is anything like Piers Gaston, they're likely to have very strong, very old whiskies and cognacs and other things actually in their wine cellar.
Okay, so the college does indeed have a wine cellar, and let's assume that you know enough. Let me think. I think Reggie is the person who is. No, I think Smith. You will get a proper invitation. It'll have a nice little silver liner on the edge, and it'll lay out the menu, along with the drinks. And at the bottom of it is, after the drinks will be served from the college cellar, brandy preferred. Yeah. So you know brandy is going to be served. You know it's coming from the college cellar. All you need to do is to find a way to pull that trick on it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, then hopefully they'll drink the wine, inverted commas, like wine.
Yeah.
Are you actually capable of turning yourself invisible?
I can turn myself. I can't turn myself invisible. I can turn myself into a medium-sized animal.
Oh.
So I was thinking actually of going in as a snake through the plumbing.
Maybe I can just take you. If you are a medium-sized animal, I can take a bag and you can ride with me. You would not need to use the plumbing unless you wanted to.
I don't mind getting dirty.
I mean, I don't need to use the plumbing. I think that you can, there's the front gate behind me. I think a snake or even a dog or a cat is going to get through here without any trouble. A snake might actually attract more attention, I suppose.
Well, it was more to actually get into the wine cellar.
Oh, I see. Okay, fine. Let's have Wynne shape change. So there's no roll on that, is there?
No, I have to choose one of 3 options though.
Go on then.
I have to either suffer 1 harm, mark corruption, or give your monarch a debt.
Well,
I will mark corruption, I think.
Fine. It reminds me, I think I should have given both Smith and Reggie another opportunity to mark a circle for their after time has passed moves. One of you talked to power, one of you talked to wild, I think. So by all means, mark those circles. Okay, so you mark corruption, and we see you, and there, conveniently laid out is a trolley with a little card on it that says Piers Verde, 7 p.m. And that is where you will find a stock of wine bottles, bottles of wine, and also bottles of brandy. So what's the deal then, Wynne?
First of all, has the wine been opened?
Do you want it to be opened?
I'd like it to be sitting so it goes to room temperature.
Mm-hmm. Fine.
So I will pour myself a drink, a little sip of the wine so I can taste what it actually tastes like. And then I will find somewhere to empty the wine out of and then fill it up with
And there's loads of brandy on the shelves.
Yeah.
So there's no shortage of brandy. And then glamour, you create illusions, blah, blah, blah. Compelling, you cannot disguise or conceal yourself or your actions with these. But again, I guess you have to spend, don't you?
Yes, and I will mark harm in this case.
Okay. What does that look like when you take harm for calling on your fairy powers?
In this case, I think there's this brief moment where the veil between the fairy world and the actual real world breaks, and people can actually see what I look like.
Oh, what do you really look like?
I look like a horrible little troll type creature.
So are we in house elf country here?
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Except when humans see me and when normal people see me, I look like the picture.
Okay. Meanwhile, Reggie is, I think, going to try to convince Jovita that tonight is not the night.
Yeah, but I think I probably want to have the blood supplies with me because that's what I promised her. So I guess before that I would need to convince Smith to give me some more blood. Or alternatively, I would sacrifice the blood that I actually already got from her, which means that now I probably soon actually have to face my eternal hunger.
It's up to you. I think three options here. One, you do that and risk facing your hunger. Two, you convince Smith to give you some more. Or three, you call in a debt on Smith to get that extra supply. They all have a cost or a risk. Which one's your option, Reggie?
I think I'll call in a debt. I do have one, right?
I thought you did.
Yeah, you do.
So.
You do. Because you prevented me to go in guns blazing when I wanted to. And I forgot that I was retired, which I occasionally do. And usually you say, aren't you kind of old for that shit? And I'm going like,
yeah,
well,
so I just strike this one through.
Strike them out.
Okay.
And by the way, since Jovita is in my web, I also have a debt to collect from her. But I wasn't so sure if that's actually practically already the case because I haven't given her the blood supplies yet.
No, I think that she is in your web. Full stop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then
let me come to Jovita in a moment because there are debt moves and there are options here, Smith. You can always refuse to honor a debt.
No, I like him, and I'll figure out a way to clear this with the administration. Maybe I'll just say that, it was too cold. I mean, you've got to store blood at the right temperature, and sometimes our refrigerator really gets overexcited when it's cold outside and inside, and then, well...
Let's worry about whether the National Health Service comes looking, when they send the minders round in search of blood they were expecting.
Oh, I can totally sabotage my own refrigerator.
So, Reggie, you then need to convince Jovita
to delay the.
Yes,
and
because as I understand it, you're saying I can supply silver bullets or the equivalent.
Exactly.
If you just give me time.
And
so what does that look like? We know that Susie, I mean, is this a vampire who looks like she's easy to convince?
Not really, no.
So what do we see when you go down to Jovita's club?
Well, even though she doesn't look easy to convince, I think I'm quite confident. So, and that's also how I appear there, because I have the blood supplies and I want to give her even more, right?
Okay, old man, what do you want?
Hey,
why are you here again?
Well, I told you I have your blood supplies for the big fight.
Yeah.
So here it is.
Oh, great. And she begins to look around as though to call people in to make the plans. Come on, boys.
But I can give you even more, something more important.
What do you mean?
Right? Well, I assume that you don't really have enough silver bullets yet, right? Or any silver weapons.
Bullets? We don't need no fucking bullets.
But I can give you those bullets, and it's much easier to fight this werewolf pack with those bullets.
Seriously, you can supply silver bullets?
Yeah, not tonight, of course. So you would have to wait maybe a few days, but...
And I think probably some of her, you know, part of her little kind of coterie of vamps, you know, they're up for it. They took something from us, Jovita. We got to take it back.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to need a bit of convincing somehow, Reggie.
Yeah, probably. So that would be the convincing move, right? What was it called?
Persuade.
Persuade, yeah. Where is it? There.
Somewhere on basic moves.
With heart.
Are you spending a deck with Jovita? I'm not quite. Where are we with Jovita on the?
Well, the thing is, I plan to spend the debt that I got from her, but not for persuading her to take the silver bullets, because I would like to give something to Wynne, and I need that debt for that.
Okay. Then so this is a straightforward persuade an NPC then. Roll plus heart.
Yeah. A 10.
Reggie is on a roll this evening.
Yes.
So on a hit, they see your point and do as you ask. So she says, all right then. And there are no downsides to that at all. And she says, you're a lot more useful, old man, than I thought you were. I thought you, sorry, she's become Michael Caine. I thought you were just some kind of weak, watery old bloke. But you could be useful, friend Reggie. She puts a hand on your shoulder and gives you a look that tells you, and I will use you.
You do that.
But
But let me ask you for a favor. So there is this werewolf leader, right? How would you like to spare that leader their life and hand them over to me?
oh, now
Because-
that's asking a very great deal, friend Reggie.
Because
He
I know
needs to bleed, sunshine.
Yes, and I have just the right person to make him bleed. Someone who really wants their revenge. A very angry person.
Look, I'll tell you what I'll do, Reggie. You turn up with some silver bullets and we'll have this conversation then.
All right. Let's do that.
And then I think we fade as Reggie walks out of Jovita's club to a rather well-appointed private dining room in Gower College, where David Marchant is pumping Smith's hand. I'm so pleased you could come, Mr. Smith. He insists on calling you Mr. Smith. Though you have told him now several times, just Smith is fine. And everyone's and they're all there in in white tie. The ladies are all beautifully in evening dress, and I can't. It is just fantastic that you're able to come and talk to us.
Of course.
So
Mr. Marchant. Marchant is the name, right?
yes.
Of course, Mr. Merchant.
But
Always
please,
happy to help young people on their way.
indeed, and you are the kind of person that one day we want to be. But first, please, let's have dinner.
I will not voice my skepticism here. But you can, I mean, I will be a bit reserved. Like, yes, this is all, because he's so obsequious almost, and I will stand a bit, be a bit standoffish about the whole thing, right? But I will, of course, over the course of the evening, I will, well, mellow a bit. I mean, I don't drink, obviously, because, you know, for religious reasons.
That's about the only excuse that would fly with Marchant, it must be said, but it does fly, and you know, and so the endless jugs of orange juice are deployed to make you feel at least welcome as the wine goes round and round the table.
I'll take coffee.
And it's very clear that they are getting very pissed indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And Marchant says to you, I don't know if I should say this, but we'd actually agreed, the committee and I had agreed to ask you whether you might come with us on a jolly this evening.
I'm afraid, young sir, you are in no state to go on a jolly.
Oh, never better, never better.
You can barely stand.
At what point do they drift into, you know, various states of between being violently ill and unconscious? How many courses do they manage to get through?
They're students, I imagine a few. And I will attempt to kind of get them to tell me about the glorious history of their organization. Maybe sing a song or two, and try to figure out if everybody's always been, basically, I think Smith is very well aware of the history of Piers Verde. His sister was a member of them. But I think he will try to subtly get some of these drunky guys to say if they know that somebody who used to, that some old, not very favorably viewed alumna was in the city, basically.
Let's have you.
Yes. Let me go to some moves.
This, I mean, this sounds a little bit like study a place of power. See below the surface of the reality to the reality underneath. What's actually going on with Piers Verde?
Mm-hmm.
Is that of interest?
If you study a sanctuary place of power, or with that circle that controls it, yeah, I guess that's pretty much hit the street. I don't want to hit the streets. No, I don't want to hit rumors. Yeah, I think that's basically. I'm more or less in their sanctum, right?
Absolutely. You know, this is as close as Piers Verde has to a place of power.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so roll plus mortalis, which is 1, I guess.
Yes, it is. Let me roll these dice and see how they go. Yeah, it's an 8. Wow. Okay.
So on an 8, what do we got? On a hit, you see below the surface to the reality underneath. Ask the MC one question about the schemes and politics of the circle in question. On a 10 plus, your insights. So we're. What do you want to know about the schemes and politics underneath Piers Verde?
I want to know if they know that my sister is in the city and if they plan to do anything about it.
I think. Well, look, I'll throw this back at you. Do you want them to know about her? Do you want her to be at risk or not?
I want her to be at risk. I mean, of
Okay,
course I do.
so
Maybe not with these kids, but maybe with the other alumni, because I imagine this is a students' organization, but there will be older. What are alumni is the right word, right? For the guys who used to be there and now sit around in a gentleman's club, reminiscing about their days of youth and the shenanigans they got up to when they
the
were young.
principal alumni of the Piers Verde Society is Professor Belenos.
Oh, interesting. He's a wizard.
And I think Marchant will probably say to you in his cups, of course, the professor is our honorary president, and he's frankly very worried about people who join our society and then leave it, and he's got a list.
Oh, very ominous. No, very wise. Very wise.
And he tells me that soon he will share that list.
Oh, interesting. Well, I hope this will not. This will be to your advantage.
Well, of course, he is the gatekeeper to many great things that could be awaiting me. I mean us.
Well, you seem to be exactly the type for that kind of position.
And he claps you on the back. So, my dear Mr. Smith, that is the kindest thing that anyone in such a position as yours, and he bangs on the table and says, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the perfect opportunity for our guest speaker. Please, and he gestures to a podium at the end of the room. As they begin to circulate the brandy.
Yes, and I will make a speech about the glories of history of Gower and the great achievements that former members of Piers Verde have done to my knowledge, and how very important it is to keep up traditions. And I have heard that there is a song, and I am sure young Mr. Marchant would like to intone a few bars of that.
Absolutely. They'll do whatever you want at this point in the proceedings.
Yes. I'll open the window, get some fresh air.
And I think that the party turns into a series of drinking games. More drink is taken, and somebody says, "David, weren't we on a jolly?" And David says, "Yes, just one more round." And when you leave them, they are in no condition to make the stairs, let alone get as far as Jovita's club.
I think I will help Miss Michaels get home safely.
That's very decent of you. It's just across the quad.
I also want her in my debt.
Oh, fine. I think that I am prepared to have Maria Michaels owe you a debt.
Cool.
First year history student and members of newest member of Piers Verde.
It's fine just to have some eyes and ears in the right places. A good idea.
So I think where we close out before we just take another brief break, I think that the raid on Jovita's is delayed, not indefinitely, but you've probably got until the next meeting next Wednesday. Jovita is putting off going after the vamps. Again, not indefinitely. She will need to see those silver bullets quite swiftly, I think. And Wynne, how do you get out of the cellar? Sorry, I caught you having your supper.
Sorry, I came straight from work, so I went and put some food in while we were on our first break. You know that trolley that they were going to be taking the wine up on? I think I actually hid under it and pulled the things down. So as they were pushing it out.
I have to have mislead, distract, or trick then. So
Okay.
mislead, distract, or trick, roll with mind.
Okay. 1 second. Sorry, I'm just checking something. I've got a move called in Our Blood. When you mislead, distract, or trick someone through lies of omission or clever misdirection. No, that's not going to apply here, I don't think.
Unless you could turn that into misdirection.
I think I get out of the cellar okay, but I think there's a point where they put it in the dumbwaiter to actually put it into this little lift to take it up, and as they're pushing it out, I literally have to lift up the edge and throw something to basically make a noise in the other direction to try and actually slip out and
scurry off.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have you mislead, distract, or trick. So this is distract, really.
Okay. Where's the dice roller?
The link is underneath the keeper link in the Zoom chat.
Oh, sorry, did not see that.
There's a button top left, 2d6. Hit it and it will roll.
Okay, that's a 9.
Okay, so on a 9, pick 2 of the 4 bullet points. Create an opportunity, which I think is what you're trying to do.
Yep.
And then which other one?
I think I'm trying to avoid further entanglement.
Okay, so that gives you a little bit of time. The porter doesn't see you sneaking out from wherever the door to the cellar is, and you are home free.
Brilliant.
So we have a week until the next deadline hits, which is probably the next time that Piers Verde is going to go after Jovita. But in a week's time, I think you can expect Jovita to be on Reggie's back. It's 8 minutes past now. Can I suggest we reconvene at 1:15 again?
Yep.
Okay,
Sure.
I'll pause the recording. There we go. Okay, we're back after our last break. So there is a week during which things could happen. So let's start with Reggie. Reggie, do you have any particular plans for what you're going to do in the next week?
Sure, because I need to get those silver bullets to Jovita. So I probably have to go to Smith again, because that's where I want to get my silver bullets. I can't make them myself, obviously. Unfortunately, I already collected my debt from Smith. So now
So Smith,
I come with empty hands.
What are you thinking?
Okay, so you come with empty hands, but well, no matter, my friend, you are well connected from what I know. Are you not?
I am. Anything you want me to do?
There might be something. I am looking for a thing that I might have lost, and I would very much like to have it back, but I do not know where it is. I fear that the person who lost it for me might have traveled in very nightly circles at one point, even though it was a being of smoke and of smokeless fire. But if you could put out some feelers to look for, and he makes like he is looking for this, like he didn't know exactly where this drawing was, but he knows, and he draws up the drawing of a sword. It looks more like a saber, actually, like a scimitar, It is a very finely wrought hilt with symbols of fire and water and the elements, basically. And he says, "This is what I'm looking for."
Oh, did you make this?
Yes, once upon a time.
Marvelous.
Thank you. It was quite marvelous. It should not be used. It is made for hanging on the wall, maybe.
You know,
Looking at.
I always thought that the sword you made for me was already really, really beautiful, but this beats everything.
The sword I made for you, my friend, is a sword that is uniquely fitted to your physique and temperament, I think. I hope.
It is. It is. So you think someone in my circle
I
is...
have questioned those I know, but I am hitting a wall, my friend. I am hitting a wall, and I am afraid that if I go to the Fae, they might charge me a price I'm not willing to pay. As much as I adore our mutual friend Wynne, their queen is quite another thing.
Okay, I'll make some investigations for you.
Thank you.
And
I will try to make you some silver bullets for you.
Thanks a lot.
So, as I understand it, then there is a debt that Reggie is going to owe Smith. But the way to pay that debt is to turn up with the sword, or at least point in that direction.
Yeah, that would be ideal. I mean, if there's something else I needed from him, maybe we could.
So should we still record this debt?
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah,
because certainly I will forget about it. You're less likely to. So yeah, do record this then as a debt owed by Reggie to Smith, and we have a nascent calling in of that debt that we'll deal with as appropriate. What about Wynne? What's Wynne doing with the week ahead?
Well, there was something I wanted to do the very night of the Piers Verde Society getting drunk. I wanted to go and have a word with the beast to let him know what's going on.
Okay. Do you have any relationship with the beast?
I don't have a relationship with the beast, no. But he is of my court.
He is, isn't he? So I tell you, I mean, does this? I'm just wondering if we're shifting into. Are you looking to put a name to a face? Are you find out something about the beast?
No, I was trying to let the beast know that what the Piers Verde were actually planning, and to let them know that we've at least delayed it.
Okay.
Because the vampires are likely to hit back if Piers Verde goes in and causes trouble.
Do you know how to? Because the beast is a large copper statue of a man in a kind of Romano-Greek toga, sitting outside the college library. So how do you communicate with the beast? What do we see?
By interpretive dance? No, no, by interpretive dance. The beast has to move somehow. We know.
What we know is that the beast, and I think I quote, a copper construct who safeguards the college grounds from supernatural threats. It is unclear how the beast does that. Okay. So what have you got in mind?
I assumed that the beast actually animates to do that, and
okay. And what physically walks the grounds?
Physically walks the grounds is what I was thinking.
Okay.
Because if the beast isn't a entity, then it makes it very hard to have relationships with them.
It does. So it physically, because I wasn't sure it was the center of a kind of spiritual field or whatever. So So this statue that happens to be of the original Piers Verde gets up, and I think it probably patrols the grounds between midnight and 4 in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah. So college will be locked at midnight. So is Wynne going to hang about in college from and just wait till 1 o'clock?
Yes, I'm basically gonna hang about and wait for the beast to be up and around.
Okay. I have a suspicion that this might be another use of the hub move. There's always somewhere quiet in college. When you try to find a secluded place in Gower for a meeting or deal, roll with mind.
Oh dear. Oh dear. 1 second. Where is the hub moves listed?
On the hub tab. So
On the
it's
hub tab.
a couple left of your Fae character sheet.
Yep, got it. Sorry, there's an awful lot of tabs on this.
There are.
Okay, so let's go and have a look at. Let's have a look at my mind, which isn't great, if I'm totally honest. No, it's 0. It's my blood that's a -1.
Well, you know.
So let us see. And that's a 10.
So on a 10, you find somewhere that is both isolated and secure. So you could have, as this kind of statue silently moves, no clanking, just silently walks the boundary of the college. You find a discreet place. Again, it's probably where we've already seen Reggie and Smith have a discreet meeting. An avenue of trees running up to the Master's Lodge. Master's Lodge is all in darkness. The porter's last patrol is at 12:30 after they've locked the gates. And so the statue is coming towards you. What do we see as this shadowy figure moves towards you?
I'm going to stand in its path, and I'm just going to wait. And as it comes closer, I'm going to bow. I'm going to basically kneel down and bow to it.
And I guess that, you know, there's that kind of moment when it stops and there's a slight glint in its eyes as it looks down at you. What do you seek, Brownie?
I come to... sorry, let me get the accent right. I've come to let you know of passings on these lands and of potential threats and dire warnings to come.
It is my role to protect the boundaries of this place. Tell me what you know.
Those who bear the name of your likeness seek to antagonize those of the blood that rest in the city. I have heard this with my own ears. I speak no lie, nor can I lie, as you know my nature.
I trust your nature. And you say that those who claim my name threaten the college directly?
Their actions threaten to bring reprisals.
And reprisals from what?
From the blood.
Ah.
We have delayed this night. Rather than make a ruinous war upon the blood, those who bear your name now drink in stupor, now lie in stupor, and drink and sing of times past and times to come. In vino veritas. I have arranged this.
I find this knowledge good. I am in your debt, Brony, and will intensify my watch.
I have a favor to ask.
Speak it.
There are children of the moon who wear the face of beasts that have preyed upon the flocks of mankind in this town. They have
never crossed the boundaries of this college.
no, but they seek those who live here and have harmed them. There is a blood tithe. They have harmed the students here. I do not wish this to I do not wish this to escalate and for more blood to be spilt within these grounds.
My duty is clear. I will protect these grounds. I may not interfere beyond that protection.
Nor do I ask it. But in order for these children of the moon who wear beasts' faces to be fought, we need weapons. And to make weapons, we need silver. And the only ready supply of silver within these lands rests, and I'll point to the houses. Forks and knives and spoons.
And if anyone sought to steal them, I would confront them.
I do not seek to steal them. I seek to buy them with our service to confront this threat. These can be replaced, but this is the only ready supply nearby.
I will muse on this. Return to me another night.
Very well.
Now I must continue with my duty. And it turns to one side and begins to march again the bounds of the college.
I will actually stand up out of its way so it can actually walk past me rather than walking around me. So just to clarify, I was trying to call in that debt straight away to try and get hold of the silverware in the
yeah,
column.
and I think that you need to know exactly what Smith needs before you do that.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't yet. I mean, you're assuming silver bullets are made of silver.
Yes, of course, because I don't know otherwise.
Exactly. So so we know that that Smith has agreed to make some bullets.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Wynne has set up the option to get some bullets, and we know that Reggie has got quite a decent relationship with Jovita at this point. Yeah, but he's going to look for a sword. I'm curious how he's going to find that. Would it be worthwhile us quickly working out exactly what you need to make a silver bullet, Smith? I think we're there now, aren't we? Because and then looking at
I have this workshop move.
Yeah. So you have a workshop that includes a lot of blah, 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 blah. When you go into your workshop to work on something, the MC tells you, sure, no problem, but, and then 1 to 4 of the following.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take you days, is the first thing. So I don't know if you want to highlight these as I think about them to do it. You will require a rare and expensive ingredient material that does include silver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you will need silver. I think, though, you will require the services of a wizard to complete it.
Okay.
Because while silver, the legend is silver bullets and werewolves, the truth is that silver simply holds the enchantment longer.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that is what will be required. Days of work, silver, and the services of a wizard.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Because I'm thinking our wizard will be back around the table next week, I have to say. So I'm working on that assumption.
I hope so. Otherwise I will have to talk to Mr. Belenas, Professor Belenas there, just for an experiment. I have actually, this is a bit of a tangent, but I've actually seen a report of 2 guys who were trying to make silver bullets, and it is that was a lot less easy than you'd think when you've watched shows like Supernatural.
Yes, I'm sure that's true. I always get, it's exactly how cold does your iron have to be when you're making an anti-Fae weapon? So I always use bronze. Reggie, let's start roughing out how you are going to try and what's your plan with respect to the sword?
Well, the plan is that I wanted to ask around in my circles. So,
I mean, there's hit the streets, which is a
yeah,
circle
so I
move.
thought, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do.
When you hit the streets to get what you need, name who you're going to and roll with their circle. I've been thinking about this. I think that when it talks about contacts, it does mean talking to somebody, actually, somebody you know. So I apologize for that one. So when you hit streets, name who you're going to and roll with their circle. And I put it this way, they are not going to have the sword.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
This will be
I'm
the
actually looking
first
for
clear on the
information.
step, yeah?
So what I need is actually the information about this, not the sword itself, of course. But I was wondering if I actually shouldn't go to someone in my circle, but maybe to what's her name?
We do have some other faces on the table that we've
Yeah,
not
I
yet,
want to Noriko, because while she's mortalis, right?
Yep.
But she's very well connected. So
to matters supernatural,
yeah.
Indeed. Recent graduate of Gower, would-be investigative journalist, knows a lot about supernatural events. Played in our pilot by the young Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
And
she actually owes me a debt, so that's a good
I knew there
person
was
to
a
go to.
connection.
Yeah.
Fine. So yeah, she currently works on the Cambridge Evening News. But she has higher hopes. And so where do you go to see her? At the office of the Cambridge Evening News or at her flat?
I guess at her flat.
And knock politely on the door. Door opens and her eyes go wide because does she know you're a vampire?
Yeah, I think she does.
And she says, "Oh, I hate this. Okay, you may come in." Because she knows her vampire lore. Whether that's true or not in the rules is entirely beside the point, but she believes it is. And she invites you in and says, "Is this one of those times when you ask me questions or when you have something that might be of interest to me?"
Well, today I would like to ask you some questions. But I have some information for you as well, of course.
You know, Reggie, I'm always interested. I keep sending this stuff off to the Guardian and the Times, and I keep getting the rejections, but sooner or later, I'm going to strike lucky. So what can you tell me? And she gets out a little notepad.
Yeah. So I tell her about what I learned about this conflict between the vampires and the werewolves.
Right.
But I try to stay a bit vague, of course. I don't tell her anything about our secret plans and what we did to slow this down.
But there's tension.
Yeah.
And she says, "So, actual werewolves?"
Yes.
Honest to God werewolves?
Yes.
Jesus.
Werewolves against vampires.
Where? When? Shit.
Soon.
Can I take photographs of you?
Of me? No.
No, I mean of, vampires. Does that work?
Yeah, of course.
Otherwise, I'm just going to get pictures of these strange wolf things.
No, it's perfectly possible to take pictures.
So where do I need to be and when?
I don't have a specific date yet.
Oh, come on, Reggie. You can't build up my hopes like that and then I crash and burn them.
Well, it will probably happen within the week.
Okay.
So
Look,
within the next 7 days, you can assume this to happen. I might be able to give you more precise information soon.
okay, look, we've just had one of those new message machines put into the office.
Oh,
So, but look, first, do not mention vampires. Do not mention werewolves. Just, to me, where, when, okay?
yeah. Can you explain this machine to me?
Oh, you don't need to know. You just telephone. Yeah, yeah, come on, Reggie, you know how telephones work.
Of course.
And you telephone the office number, and if nobody's there, it records what you say. It's kind of like magic.
It's really magic, yeah.
And then you go in, you take the tape, and I feel like I'm living in the 21st century.
Absolutely. I mean, wow.
Place, time, Reggie. And
Yeah.
and give me half a day's notice,
I will.
Not like that last time when you swore blind there was going to be some kind of fairy ritual and and I turn up and it's kind of been and gone. Okay?
I promise.
Okay. So what can I do for you?
Well, put my hand in my coat and get out this drawing. Have a look.
What do you want to know?
This marvelous sword has been missing. Rumors are that it has appeared in my circles. You are so well connected, probably even more well connected than I am in my own circle. I thought maybe you had heard something about it? Some information. Give me some information about this.
Look, I'll be honest, off the top of my head, I'm struggling.
So you've never heard about a sword like this, or?
I mean, it's a gorgeous piece of kit, but I need to make some telephone calls. I've got a friend at the British Museum. They might be able to help.
Yeah, well, do that.
Let's assume that that the following day, you ring her and she's able to tell you that this sword was in the British Museum collection, but it's currently on loan. But she can't tell you where yet. But it's doing there's some kind of national tour of exceptional bits of British Museum stuff, and it's going to the regions. But she can't for certain tell you if or when it's coming to Cambridge.
Okay. That's good.
Are you using the debt to get that?
Do I need to? Because I gave her a favor for this, of course.
You did. Yeah, fair enough. No, we'll cry quits on that one. We'll cry quits. Okay. But she did ask you for something, so she is in your web.
That is true. I will add her to my web.
Okay. What I would be inclined to do, given that we're at 1:45, I think that we pick up with the outcomes of all of these bits next time. But I would like to give you an option on on a city move, because I have in mind a faction move I'd like to use. So if you check out the city and faction moves, Gerwin, you'll find the ones I'm interested in talking about. Each of you has the option to activate one of those city moves. If you want to, there's no requirement, you can do. But I have in mind a faction move that I want to use. So let's start with the two that have done this before. Smith, are you at all interested in a city move?
I think I'd rather stay in my forge and work away at these silver bullets, because I've also got to do this fake moonstone for Wynne. I'm doing a lot of stuff for you, my dear friend.
Yeah, I
But
think this is going to delay the moonstone. I haven't quite
Yes.
worked out when the night of the full moon is yet.
We said that this would be the solstice moon, the night of the solstice moon, so
Oh,
it would
that- yeah,
not
that's
be
right.
the next full moon, because
Okay.
that would be
Oh,
very,
that's ages away.
yeah, yeah.
So no. What about Reggie?
Hmm. I think I'll pass
Okay.
for now.
Then what about Wynne? Does Wynne have any interest in any of these?
Not really, no, not at the moment.
Okay. Then I'm going to use track someone down. The Piers Verde Society, having reported back to Professor Belenos, has been given a list. When a faction tries to track someone down, roll. Now, I've sketched out some sizes and strengths. So the Piers Verde has a size of 1 and a strength of 2. So if the faction is size 2 or strength 2, add 1. They do. Is their quarry of the same circle? It is a member of Mortalis. If their quarry is actively concealing themselves, subtract 1. Asmira is concealing herself. And if their quarry's highest status is status 1 or lower, subtract 1. She is only status 1, so we're rolling +0. Yeah? So I'll hit the 2d6 button. Thinking about it. Oh, thinking very hard about it. Gee whiz. That's taking a lot of effort. I tell you what, bear with me a moment.
I think it already rolled. I mean, I've got a roll for Alan right at this time of a 6. So,
I also see a 6.
I don't get these out often these days.
Alan, you roll. The thing rolled, and
Did it? Oh, my
it did.
circle's just going round and round.
Oh, okay. Because we saw both Daniel and I saw it. It's in the rolls
Oh, well,
history.
what have I got?
A 6.
Oh, oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, I can't see it. Oh, don't worry, GM, it's a 6.
Can make a screenshot for you.
try look it up in the roll history. That's what's.
So, if your quarry is an NPC on a 7 to 9, the faction finds their quarry. They attack them, kidnap them. Okay. I think that Smith and Reggie, well, Reggie directly and Smith then indirectly, know that Piers Verde tried to break into his flat.
Oh.
Yeah, but they failed.
Oh well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's call on that hot news. I have to say I'm slightly disappointed with track someone down, but never mind. Let's do a swift stars and wishes, shall we? Shall I? Let me start in whatever order I've got here. Gerwin, any stars?
I love the fact that this is a general star to everyone in all the players in this. I love the fact that when we were coming up with the plan, it was yes and then. We were each building off little bits of things that the other people were coming up with. So big stars round for people for that. And the fact that we actually came up with a cohesive plan so quickly and we didn't spend all night discussing it.
Can I just give you all double stars? Because, you know, paralysis of planning is all too easy on these occasions. So I absolutely endorse that. Thank you, Gerwin. What about you, Daniel? Any stars?
Yeah, stars to all of you. I love all the characters and how they connect to each other and how a really great story already emerged out of this. Also, stars to you as an MC, of course. I found that the game, it looked at first to me quite complex with all these different moves, and I think we managed to, yeah, I thought it might be a bit clunky, but it wasn't at all. So we weren't always thinking about the mechanics, but it was really story first. So I loved that very much.
Good. I have to say, that is my worry with Urban Shadows. It's why I never ran the first edition. Fingers are crossed. Any stars, Sabine?
Yeah, lots of stars. Stars to all the characters. I love that Reggie was trying to wheel and deal his way through all of this. This was very nice. And I love Wynne's, no, they can't take my werewolves. I have to destroy them. They're mine. I really love that. And I also love the talk he had with the statue. That was amazing. Alan, I love the way you incorporated all of that stuff that we gave you. We gave you a lot of stuff. And yeah, and it was really nice to see that put into play quite this decisively. And I mean, that was really, really neat. And I wonder where this will be going. I am very excited for this game now.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I want to endorse. I didn't expect to be playing a statue in our first session. Thank you, Gerwin, for that. Yeah, Reggie the Spiv. You know, he's dressed slightly 1950s, and there's a bit of a kind of, I've got a deal for you. I like that. And I thought you played Jovita like a finely tuned violin. And Smith, you know, I thought I'd got away, but they sucked me back in. I think the veteran's going to have a lot of fun. And yeah, just the cohesiveness of your characters, how they related. Thank you for that. That made my job much easier. Any wishes for next time? Let's go back the other way. Sabine, any wishes?
Yeah, so many. I
well,
would like.
Yeah, what's your top wish?
Okay, I want to meet my sister and tell her about and kind of protect her from these Piers fools. And also, I would like to have the opportunity to charge into danger and gain corruption. But hey, you know.
Well, you know, I did my best. I was setting up a fight between vampires and werewolves, and you put me off. What can I say?
Yeah, well, that's actually the kind of the way the veteran works. Is like, oh no, let's not have a fight. So I'm playing into that.
Daniel, any wishes for next time?
Yeah, I think it would be nice to actually have contact with my relatives. Even though I always, as a character, I try to only observe them. Maybe something could happen there. And yeah, maybe at some point it would be great to let it out.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I need to threaten you with something that makes letting it out the logical things to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Gerwin, anything that you'd like to see next time?
Yes, to echo what Daniel said, I'd actually like to have some screen time with Suzanne next time.
Fine.
I mean, one of the things I'm conscious of is we've set up an awful lot of plot hooks for such a short run game. And so there's an awful lot going to be on the table, but there's an awful lot going to be resolved as well as a result of that. So we have to temper that expectation there, but I'm really happy with the way the story's going, and
that's thank you. I can't ask for more than that. Okay, wave bye-bye to the internet as I stop our recording.